I love that Aaron Rodgers and the Jets flew to London. Rodgers threw 3 interceptions, and the Jets were like, "We know the solution. Fire Robert Saleh." Not saying, he's the best defensive coordinator, but I don't really know how this fixes the Jets offense. But what was
It
your initial
doesn't.
reaction to Robert Saleh being let go? And should Kyle Shanahan, I know he just spoke in his press conference and said he gave him a text, but should John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan be on the phone and trying to get him in the building in any capacity, defensive coordinator? What was your
Yeah.
your takeaway?
My takeaway from the New York point of view is just that he's a scapegoat. Just it's not on Saleh. The problem with the Jets is their offense, and that goes back to Rodgers and
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett. That has nothing to do with Robert Saleh. But they want Saleh to be Superman. He can't resolve everything on his own, but that was the Jets' expectation, so they let him go. In terms of the Niners, Saleh has already said, "No, I'm not doing anything else this season. I'm done." So he's going to rest on his laurels and relax and be with his family. He's got 7 kids. He's got a big family. So, yeah, okay. So I wouldn't expect Saleh to do anything. The
Okay.
Niners can
That
reach out and say, sorry to hear what happened. Please stay in touch. And I think that they could, but I don't think Saleh is coming back in any capacity as defensive coordinator replacement or as a consultant or anything. I think just Robert Saleh is in the picture for 2025. That's it.
Okay, I guess from if you're looking at it from Robert Saleh's
Yeah,
perspective, it makes sense. He has his whole salary that he's going to be paid out from the Jets. Matter of fact, if he does accept a job, does that mean he gets less of that money? I know when who was it? Was it the Denver Broncos? I know that they've done stuff like that before where if a coach is let go and supposedly he's supposed to be guaranteed a salary if he accepts a new job, sometimes the next team can have to take some of that or the old team doesn't have to pay as much. So I can see Robert Saleh wanting to get his full due from the Jets and then also using the rest of this season to prepare for the 2025 hiring cycle, which for everyone, like that starts in the playoffs or
right.
even right before then. So he can get very prepared for his interviews. And that way, he actually, instead of just getting with the 49ers, he would have multiple teams probably to choose from.
Sure.
Um, Additionally, with there not only being, in my opinion, scheme issues on this defense, there also does seem to be a lack of depth and talent on the defense. And maybe the way Robert Saleh looks at it is if he does come back, say the defense doesn't massively improve, that could lower his value. Where right now, on the Jets, the defense was doing well. So Saleh's stock, at least as a defensive coordinator, is still very high right now and
Sure.
he might not want to do anything to mess with that before next
Well,
year.
I don't think that's an issue. I think that it's more the case of Saleh has a large family, and when you're an NFL head coach, you sacrifice a lot of your time. And so when you're let go in a situation like this, your family is saying, okay, yeah, come back home and let's just regroup. And so I think that's what's going on.
I
I
guess
don't
that would
think that
make
Saleh
sense.
is going to be that concerned about it. Steve O in the chat says Rogers didn't mess up the Reddick deal. Absolutely true. Yeah. If anybody's to has the most blame in
What
this,
about
it's Joe
Joe Douglas?
Douglas.
Yeah, That's also not completely Robert Sala's fault. And like from the Jets' perspective, the problem with their team is offense, not defense right now.
Yeah.
Now I do know they gave the interim coaches Jeff Ulbrich, who is actually a guy the 49ers reached out and tried to hire as their defensive coordinator this year. Once
Right.
again, another guy they wanted over freaking Nick Sorensen, who they just were not confident in, and now we're starting to see why. Because he himself doesn't seem confident in himself. But yeah, I guess I was listening to the fan base and thinking myself right when I heard the news, could this be a fix? Could this be a switch for the 49ers? We look back in previous seasons when they've gone 3-5, uh, 4-3, like had slow starts or lulls. They had the Debo twist where they turned him into a running back. They had wide back Debo. That took the league by storm for the rest of the season and helped them carry them into the NFC Championship game. You had the trade for Christian McCaffrey when Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers were struggling, and that obviously turned the whole the whole team around after he
Yeah.
was acquired. But I didn't know when I'm looking at these 49er problems and I'm thinking, what is that switch? What is that change going to be this year to get them out? I have multiple things that maybe they could try, but
Okay.
when I saw that Robert Saleh news, I was like, wow, what if that's just, being handed on a silver platter to the 49ers? But you're thinking, probably not, probably, probably not, wouldn't
Now,
be.
from a solid perspective, it's time for him to be with his family and just regroup. From a Niner fan perspective, hire him now. But it ain't gonna happen. You have to give Sorensen and Brandon Staley enough time. 5 weeks isn't enough. So you've got to at least give them a chance to prove themselves or fail. And this isn't the type of regime to fire somebody mid-season. That's not how the Niners do business anyway.
Yeah. My thing is like, I guess what I was thinking, and once again, you're correct. It doesn't matter what the 49ers want, it's what Robert
Yeah.
Saleh is willing to do. But from the 49er side, like, even if you could get Robert Saleh to come on as like a defensive consultant type thing, like, who the hell cares about Brandon Staley? Help on offense. Your new job is to watch the red zone and look at the rest of the league and figure out what they're doing to be able to score freaking points and why we're not. Like, who cares about him? Have him do that. Maybe you don't fire Nick Sorensen right away. Maybe you feel really confident in Nick Sorensen. So you think, okay, he's secure in his job, but yeah, having another mind in the room can't
Oh,
hurt.
sure. No.
Or you are questioning Nick Sorensen and you're like, okay, we're not going to fire you yet, but we're going to have someone in the building and see if you can step up to the plate. But
Yeah, but again, that's not in the Niner team organizational character to do something midstream. Usually, they'll commit to a season and they'll stay on that track. At least in the Shanahan era, that's what they've done. I get it from the fan perspective of Saleh could help, and if they have problems, especially if they lose their next 3 games, what's the switch that they can flip? And I'm interested in hearing the rest of your list, but I would think that the start of that list from the Niner point of view is getting back McCaffrey and Dre.
that's stupid. I hate that. If that's their goal, I hate that.
Yes, but
You
guess
cannot
what?
be
That's
relying
exactly what they're
on
that's
you
exactly
cannot
what they're
be
thinking.
that's
That's
two
the top
players
of their
and
list,
one Achilles.
guaranteed. I'm
They're
with
missing
you,
two players and
but
there's
yeah.
one Achilles between both of them. No.
Yeah.